Let's have some fun with Photoshop. I've launched Adobe Bridge, and you'll notice I have several shots of Lombard Street in San Francisco. This car is permanently parked, but as I go through the shots, you'll see there's some people here taking photos, and more people start to walk down the stairs. Here comes a car making its way down the hill. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone to take a travel picture of just a beautiful historic site, and I just can't get people to get out of the scene. Well, this is a tip I got directly from Russell Brown. It is called the Tourist and Car Remover. I had the last picture selected in Bridge, and I shift-clicked the first picture. I'll go to the Tools menu, Photoshop, and load files into Photoshop layers. I should mention while these are loading that this feature I'm going to show uses smart objects and stack modes, and this can only be done in PhotoshopCS6 Extended, but it works in other earlier versions of Photoshop, CS5, CS4. As I look at this, if I hold down my Option or Alt key and click the eye icon, you can see this was taken without a tripod, which is common of travel photos. So they're shifting around quite a bit. Let's have Photoshop fix this. If I use my Shift key with the top layer selected and I shift-click on the bottom layer, I can choose Edit, Auto Align Layers. This was also added in CS4, so it's not new. I'll choose Auto and click OK, and Photoshop will do a very high-end comparison of the overlapping pixels, measuring their RGB values, looking for high contrast edges. And even though my camera moved and there's more sky in some shots than there are in others, it merged into one final piece. So now if I hold down Option or Alt and click the eye just to see one layer at a time, you can see the people moving through the shot, the cars driving down the hill, and I really want a shot where it looks like no one is there. And I want the best sky. So if I look at my top shot, I was fairly close to no one being there with just these women in the background, but I had a lot of sky cut off. So I'll Option click or Alt click to turn that layer back on. And I'll go to my Layer menu and choose Smart Object and Convert to Smart Object. That takes all 9 of these independent photos and merges them into one Smart Object layer. But they still have independence. All 9 pictures still exist inside that Smart Object layer. It embeds them in there. Here's the magic. Under Layer, Smart Objects, Stack Mode. There are several stack modes that you can choose, and the 2 that I like the most are Median and Maximum. Median is recommended to remove objects from a picture, like cars or tourists, and Maximum takes the maximum of the RGB values and will often wipe some things out. In fact, Minimum is interesting too, and I'll show all 3. So let's just start with Median, which is the end of this trick. When I choose Median, it looks at all 9 of those photos, compares where they have solid values, and now merged all of them into one final piece. No cars traveling down, no tourists whatsoever. There's a little bit of a ghost effect here of someone that was standing in the shot at some point, or even several people. So if I choose Layer, Smart Object, Stack Mode, I should mention that Stack Mode was actually added for medical imaging, but through Russell's tip, I found some ways to apply it to real-world situations, like shots of landmarks or landscapes, or when you're traveling and people just keep walking into your shot or cars keep driving by. If I choose Maximum, here you could see a really neat special effect. I can actually see 2 versions of the car and all the tourists at the different shots traveling down the stairs, and ghosts of some of the tourists taking pictures. So I actually love this for a special effect. And we'll try the opposite. Layer, Smart Object, Stack Mode, and minimum of the RGB values. And here, it's a similar effect, but they look more inverted. So I can see part of a car here, part of a car here, a little bit of the tourist taking a shot, but really not many of the people in the stairs at all. And the color is different. Well, when I'm finished, I'm going to go to Layer, Smart Object, Stack Mode, and choose my median, which is the typical way I achieve this desired result, to remove any offending information in the shot and make it look like I was the only one there that day. And when I'm finished, I don't need the layers anymore. So I'm going to flatten the image. I'm going to double click on color and double click on adjustments, and I'm going to flatten the image now. So I will right click anywhere on the layer and slide down to flatten image. You could also do that under the layer menu at the bottom, flatten image, or on the panel menu, these 4 little lines with the down arrow, and choose flatten image. But since I started on a Mac, I often forget about my right click, and right click will give you context sensitive options for any tool or any panel or layer or path. Now, once I'm ready, I might want to work on this ghost a little bit over here to the right. So I will zoom in with Command Spacebar or Control Spacebar, and I will scoot over, and I love the patch tool to just wipe out individual elements. With the patch tool, I can make a rough selection of this part of the grass, and then get in the middle and decide what I want to replace it with. And as I click and drag, I'm trying to line up the line in the grass with what's in the image. Now, I may not want the railing there included, so I could undo Command Z or Control Z and do the railing in a separate part. I made a new selection with patch. I'll drag over, try to line up the grass. Even the sidewalk gives me a nice line to aim for. Let go, and it's wiped out. And I could try a little bit here and drag over, lining up the railing with what's already in the photo. You would never know. I'll finish it off by hitting Command 0 or Control 0, and you could also try selecting this piece and using Edit Fill and Content Aware to wipe it out, or even cloning out the car. But my goal was to show you the outstanding and very easy way to use stack mode on a smart object. If I come back to Bridge, if you're going to try this on your own, just remember to stand there for a little while, taking individual shots as people are walking through your frame. And that way, as long as there are shots where these 2 people aren't standing there, here we have an empty one. In this, a shot where the car doesn't exist at that spot, that's how it's calculating what to omit from the photo and what to keep. So give this tourist and car remover technique, shown to me by Russell Brown, a try with your own travel shots.